So just before we finish up on the whole Ghost of Tsushima action, this is the last part of the entire series I'm uploading today. I just wanted to give my final thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima as a whole. I wanted to give you where I thought was where its strengths were, where its weaknesses were, break down what I thought of the whole game as a whole. This game has quite a meaning to me in terms of the channel that I stream on. It was kind of my first main game, if that makes sense, when I started streaming just under a year ago, and it's kind of like, so it's had a special place. And when I played the game originally, I was like, it kind of blew me away because it kind of had this, like I've said, I'm much through my playthrough and thinking, do you know, it's very Horizon Zero Dawn feel to it, and they kind of used that game as the base template, which was a really nice feel. I really felt that having keep mixing up. Horizon Zero Dawn has a really good like base how the game is set up. It has an incredible storyline. Right, and I'm not talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, I promise. But it has an incredible storyline. The gameplay is fantastic, and then on top of that, you have like a vast world to explore. And Ghost did the exact same thing. It's not the same dev. You would think it is, but it's not. Um, I'm not in Tsushima, but this is just the DLC, and this DLC is at least 20 hours long. And there's still bits I haven't done, so there's another 2 to 3 hours if I wanted to go and collect all the records and stuff like that. But like, there is so much in the game that it's just pretty crazy that what's available in the game. Um, but down to like, you know, it's got everything you want in the game. You know, it's got action, it's got a challenge to it. You can just play it medium for most people, and you still find it a challenge. If you like Dark Souls and stuff like that, put it on ultra hard, you'll die in one hit by all means. But there's a lot of playability to this game and replayability, to be honest with you. There's a new game plus mode, and I'm very tempted to go and do it. Not necessarily all on stream, maybe save it for another time. And on the hardest mode difficulty, just because, you know, it's got that feel of wanting to go further beyond with it. Can I see how far I can go, kind of thing with the game. But I've never seen this bit before. But yeah, there's a lot in this game that you just didn't expect to see. And it came out in 2020. I felt it was one of the biggest games that came out in 2020. I feel it was one of the best games that came out in 2020, to be honest with you, because it just gave that fresh feel to a video game that you need. A good balance. It's, you know, it's set in feudal Japan around a war. The Mongols attack. One of the best things I felt in the game in terms of gameplay was the styles that they adopted. So there's a lot of history put into this game. I've had someone come to the channel literally and say like they study that kind of level of kendo, and they said the styles, the stances and stuff like that are real stances. All of these are real stances, which is fine, right? But it's not just Jin, the main character, that has the stance. There's each enemy clan has their own stance. They literally have their own stance and style, which is really cool. I felt like it was a really good addition brought into it. Like, it's not only just all the Japanese clans as well. The Mongols are historically correct. They go to shoot a bow, and the way the stances is exactly how they used to do it historically, and the same for the Japanese in it. They do the same thing, and it's little things like that I thought was really well put into the game. They really thought, you know, you can tell when you're playing the game, a lot of thought went into the game. A lot of, you know, they've done their research. You know, they just put together a lazy game and thought, it's really good. It's make really it shiny, make some money or whatever. What it is, and the graphics just look fantastic. And this is the PS5 now, but I played this game initially on the PS4, and I was still blown away by the looks of it. You know, from the views and the scenes you've seen, you know, it's just when the sun sets and stuff, it hits. It looks good. It looks really good. There isn't much graphically different in the PS4 and the PS5 version, if I was being completely honest with you. There really isn't much of a difference, in my honest opinion. People could tell me differently. Oh, well, you know, it could be like the fine, you know, you're playing on a better one or whatever. I feel like I didn't feel much difference when I loaded in to the difference. I did leave a gap between the two. I don't have all of my original PS4 footage because it got lost and because of the quality and the switch in the stream, but it was, which is a shame. I wish I had it all available. Some of my initial playthrough is uploaded on YouTube, but some of it isn't. But one thing I did enjoy playing the game, and the story was really well. There was moments where you go into fight in the castle, you go into fight to get your uncle, and you end up, your best friend from your childhood friend betrays you, and you have to like fight him, and the music kicks in. The music's so good in this game, and like the moment, you just feel right in the moment. It really engages the player. For a single player experience, it is one of the best campaigns I've played in a quite a while. Well, over 2020 era, it was one of the, it was a fantastic storyline, really well written. Then they implemented it into the game, and they tried to set it into a history, which is very hard to do. If I was being completely honest with you, it's not something you can just go and wing and do. So there's a lot of thought gone into it for sure. Yeah, another thing I want to just touch on is how big the game is. Like, there's these 3 islands. Yeah, this is the DLC, but like, you got these 3 big islands here. When you start then, I spent a lot of my playthrough here. I was doing everything because I like to explore and go. Like when you start a game, you start around here or something like, and then you walk around. And you go, and oh, I'm gonna go down this way, and then start this way, and then you just kind of start going to the places, and then you unlock stuff as you go along. It's got that adventure feel to it, that Skyrim appeal to it, if that makes sense. But one of the things I really liked in the game is it's not all like markers and stuff like that. For example, if you want to go somewhere, right, the wind guides you, which is a really nice, it doesn't break the immersion of it being a video game. It keeps you in the spirit of the game, because then the wind will guide you and follow you. If you try to go the wrong way, it blows wind against you. So if I was like wanting to go this way all of a sudden, and then I'm walking this way, the wind is pushing me, saying, no, you want to go that way, to kind of guide you. None of this like fake radar on the top hand corner and stuff like. I know there's like a pin thing there because I marked it, but it's got this whole, keeps you immersed, gets you into the world itself, which is something like you don't see often, or they try to do, but you still feel disconnected. This kind of brings you in. The story is really tragic as well. At the very start of the game, it's like everyone's dying, and you're just like, well, what's going on? Another feature what I've found from this very beginning is that there's something called Kurosawa mode. Now, I have watched a lot of old Kurosawa films. If you don't know what they are, they're old Japanese like samurai films. But from the 50s, I think they are. I can't remember what era, but it's like, we're talking a long time ago. Black and white films, yeah. And like, you can play the game in this mode, like, and then it has that appeal to it. It's just like, it just made me feel like they have definitely done the research. It's not about, they've also looked and felt like this is their it's feel like a fan project but brought to life into like a modern game, which is something you don't see often. Now, I didn't play the game in Kurosawa mode because I feel like you lose out on a lot of the scenery. But at the same time, if you wanted to play it in the black and white feels, to be in that feel, it's like, yeah, it's still there, like in a fight and all that sequence stuff, like, it would be quite funny. So there is that, and it's just like, I think there was like a nice little thought added into the game. And then like just the general look of the game, like as you're exploring out. Let me switch back out of Kurosawa mode to show that bit off there. But there's no disappointment with the look of the game. Like if you look over there, the color of the sky down to a T. It's literally the detail. One thing I like about many of the games that I'll play is when I notice that there is a attention to detail. When I see attention to detail, it means a lot to me. Because then at that point I know that they have put a lot of work into it. It could be little call outs or Easter eggs, little thoughts like that, but it's just, you look at things like, you look at the look, the reflection, the water, there's different trees with different things, and it's done. I don't say trees with different things. They have like different areas, and it's represented, and then there's this whole clan situation. It's just like, there's so much to talk about in terms of what's available. Is that a fight? Yeah, it is. You can bow, you can play the flute, which I think is a really cool factor. There's a whole range. You can play the game however you like. One of my favourite things about this game is that, unlike Horizon Zero Dawn, you're stuck with a bow, right? That's it. You're stuck with a bow, and that's about it. So with this game, you can play however you like, and the actual story challenges you to do that. You're Jin Sakai. You grow up as a samurai. You're the son of a legend samurai, and you have to, but he's starting to question things. He's like, I am we go straight up. You can literally go up and do a standoff with an enemy, and do that whole thing where you stand off against them. Where you can walk up to them and have the fight, or if you really want to, you can lob a grenade over them. You can just do that and just like throw them off. You can play them out with a bow, which I highly recommend. Is a really fun way of, you know, it's really fun. But you can just throw grenades at them all day. Well, I say they're called grenades, but you know, you can just throw bombs at them. You can, if you're trying to, you can play stealth. One of my favourite ways to play games like this, believe it or not, is stealth mode. I like a good stealth mode. Are you alive? Yeah. I like a stealth mode, so you can. I don't have a bomb. A good weapon choice is the kunai. You can just kind of like, they'll get you out of, especially early game. They will get you completely out of any situation, 100% of the time. And then yeah, you go around and save people like this. I want to showcase the smoke bomb as well on a moment. You unlock lots of techniques as well in the game that are based off real techniques or have been put into them. And that's what I really like about the feel of that game. This game style is just literally brought in so many areas of expertise. You know, like there's techniques and stuff like that. There's a whole set of moves, and you basically learn how to get good. There's a meme on most channels where it says just get good. Well, the game kind of progresses you to get good. Like, you start off with no abilities and you lose everything as well. You start off a samurai and then the dude just knocks you off the bridge and takes you, and you have to start from scratch. But like, going on to that, like the story gets you to challenge how you play the game, how you take each action. Like one of the characters called Yuna, she says, well, we should sneak in and like stealth kill them. And he's like, I don't do that. I'm a samurai. We have pride. Our pride is to go up to any fight face to face and fight everybody. But then like, you end up having the opportunity to play the game however you like, and then you know, it kind of gives you the player the choice of how you want to play the game and how to experience it. You know, and there's so many different tools and stuff in the game to do it. And I really like that feel. The sticky bombs are really fun, and if I can try and find another fight. But the sticky bombs, you can just stick a bomb to them, they blow up, and it kind of throws them all off. You can throw a little bell in the area, and they'll go and check it out, and you can go and sneak up and get them. There's many different ways to do it. I know a good way to test an enemy. Yeah. You can literally, for example, use a smoke bomb, drop it here, and then you can literally just like I did that on my first playthrough, and everyone's like, "What? How? What? That no one thought of it before." Like, just to drop a smoke bomb, and then they can't see you, and then you just end up assassinating them in like, you know, in ways, and then you go straight up fighting them. Then you get yourself out of the situation. Like, you unlock more and more, and then there's techniques where you can just like do little things, and then like it's just the thought that went into the game was something. That's my controller going off. Was genius. So I felt that there was a lot of thought gone into the game, which I really enjoyed. And then there's a mode where you call Ghost Mode. I'm going to spoil everything, because if you haven't played the game, you're just using this as a basis. This video as a basis to decide whether this is worth playing, then I highly recommend it. And Ghost stance I never really use anyway. But you have the 4 different stances as well, where you can choose to, where you have to switch as you're playing the game. So like you'll come across enemies that wield spears on a regular basis, and you have to use stances to be able to parry and attack and dodge them, otherwise they'll beat you. And at the start of the game, that was a big challenge, because you only have one stance and you have to try and beat a guy with a spear, and it's so hard to block his move, and you end up rolling around all the time. I remember one of my first missions, I was getting beaten, and I failed the mission like countlessly just because I didn't have any options. You know, I was just kind of stuck. And I don't know if it was in the base game, I can't remember, but when I was playing on the DLC, on the DLC maps, there's definitely, the enemies are switching styles as we were playing. They were literally going, you know, the enemies now do it, they switch in styles too, which I didn't think was a thing until the DLC. There might have just been added in across the whole game, which would make a lot of sense. But that added a whole new element of challenge. So then you had to switch your weapons as well. And there's instant switch, not like, you know, so it's just about reaction times and stuff like that. So it was a nice fun challenge. The things I actually thought was an incredible addition to the game as well was the quests. So every game, a game will generally drive itself on the story, right? And I said already how good the story was. The campaign, every mission was insane and epic, and the music, everything hit was so darn good. And then on top of that, you know, the DLC delivered the exact same thing. Then all of there's like a whole load of side missions, like loads of them, and they all have very unique stories. Like there's sad ones, there's happy ones, there's a mystery one. There's one with like a whole fog and a ghost. And you have to find this blood trail. There's Kenji, who's basically the comic relief of the whole game, and it's just really funny seeing him. But yeah, it's just like the world was so vast, and there were so many extra quests on top of that. There was areas like where you could raid castles effectively, or raid huge encampments, and again it was down to you how to do it. And some of them quest related, some of them weren't quest related. You basically feel like you're liberating Tsushima. So yeah, the story, the quests, and all the side quests had their own story and role written into it. It weren't just the main campaign, and the side quests are just fetch quests. It's not like there was like one. I think I made a joke about one quest being a fetch quest because it was like the only time I felt I was doing a fetch quest. You know, when you play like an action RPG or an action game or an adventure game, and I was like, go collect 10 flowers or whatever. I'd make a joke when I was playing through the game about, oh, I'm going to collect some flowers, because there was none of this filler content side quest. They all had this whole unique feel to it. So it was just like a really well put together package. And some of it was, yeah, and then there was character stories as well. So there was optional character stories. I mentioned a character called Eunice. She has her own story, backstory into it, and each of the main characters and cast in the game actually have their own side stories, and you can choose to do them, and it will immerse into the final part of the story because you feel connected to them, or you can kind of just skip them and just do all the main campaign and then come back to them, because there's nothing missable. It doesn't matter which order you do it in. I did it in the order for immersion purposes, because that's how I play games. But yeah, it was definitely something where I felt like, you know, you get to know these characters and why they're so big and why they're important, and then if something happens, you're like, oh my word, you know, it's just like, yeah, it was definitely one of those feels where they put a lot of thought into it. And, you know, I remember there's one mission directly where you have to go and get revenge. There's these three brothers that were used to torture one of the characters in the game, and you basically they have been captured by the Mongols, but we go and sneak in to assassinate these three brothers that have been captured by the Mongols and get out, and you're not allowed to be caught by the Mongols. Like you have to, it's like it's a stealth mission. And it was like, that's one of the missions that I remember the most, because it was such a unique mission. So I really, really enjoyed the uniqueness to that mission and the story pressure at all. So yeah, without, you know, that was, you know, there's a lot of thought gone into each quest as well. So it's definitely something I highly recommend. There is a multiplayer mode called Legends mode. I didn't like it as much. I started it. I will go back and kind of play around with it because there's a mission that I can't do it until I finish it, for some reason. But that being said, there's nothing. It's literally a minor side quest, and it will not affect your gameplay in any way. You do not need to play them. If those are apprehensive about multiplayer games or playing online, you do not need to play this game on an online setting to enjoy and get the immersion with this game in any way. The Legends mode is literally like, it's like a little arena. Like, you and three other players will defend areas and stuff like that. And there is a story where you go and you're against demons, and you have to go and protect areas or save people from demons and stuff like that. It looks pretty cool. But then and you upgrade yourself with, like, I don't have it. I don't want to open it up because it'll set up a cutscene. But it has almost like a Destiny way to level up as well. So you gain like equipment with like leveled numbers. With numbered levels, and you use that to get stronger, I guess, to a certain power level. I think that's what they did. It was a nice idea, but I'm not saying it's bad, and maybe I'll go back and come back with a different thought on it. But what I wanted when I thought multiplayer experience, what would have been nice is I wanted this world, right? If the whole thing was all like taken over in demons, I was thinking, oh my god, we're gonna have this but demons, and there's you can just like almost like the GTA style world, but not 18 people on that. Don't get me wrong, but like you have like you and two to four people, and you can kind of explore Tsushima, and you kind of just have to save it, or even if it's just one of these islands, and you just go to each area and you say, you know, like there's no free roam. And I kind of felt that was a bit of a shame. After playing the free roam that there is in this game, and then you take that away in the multiplayer, I felt that that was a bit of a disappointment. That being said, it's probably one of my only critiques of the game. I'll say little things here and there about what could have been nice, like little nods, but there's a lot of like hidden stuff in the game as well, which is really cool. So it's like a game you can really sink hours into, like hours upon hours. It's a good 60-hour experience, if not longer. So it's like, yeah, it's one of those feels where you can just, it's got the playability, replayability to it, you know. And when you finish it, I played the game, then I took a break, then the DLC came up, then I came back to DLC, and I really fell in love with it all over again. And here I am telling you about it now. I will miss playing it if they release a second, like, you know, the DLC that came out, well, I'm glad it was a campaign and single player. There's too much multiplayer DLC these days. It was nice to see a single player setting. It needed it. Horizon Zero Dawn did it right as well, and the DLC I want to touch into did a fantastic job, because it has a 20-30 hour experience on its own on top of the base game, which you don't see much of anymore. Most of it's just addition, and what they added to it was brand new stuff, lots of brand new stuff into it. Like in the base game, you go around and you pray to fox shrines and stuff like that. Then they have a different element to that, and with the PS5 controller, there's this like music mode where you have to kind of balance your controller up and down for it as well. So it was really just that extra thought that's gone into it, you know. And they added things like you can trample enemies with a horse, which is a whole new setting to it as well. And then obviously there's a lot of new clothing and stuff as well, which is really nice to see, because you can dress up you Jin however you like, and you can play however you like. So it kind of has what I feel the perfect balance to a game. Could it be better? Could there be improvements to it? Yeah. I mean, you could say that for any game though, but it's very minor. If there's I'd say a complete game, this is a complete game. It's not a game you played, you put 20 hours into, oh, I beat it, that's done and dusted, you know. I hope I get to see more games like this. I feel the only game I could compare this to was Horizon Zero Dawn. You could say you could compare this to games like Neo and Sekiro, but they are more Souls games. This is not a Souls game. You could put it on ultra difficult and play like a Souls game if you want to. I'm sure I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure it's ridiculous, and I do like challenges like that anyway, so I will look into doing that potentially. But yeah, it's one of those things where I wouldn't compare it to one of those games in any way, because they are Souls-like games where you need souls to survive and progress, whereas this is more of a story-driven adventure game. So that being said, I would give this game a strong 9 out of 10. Experience there, and it's been a personal one for this channel as well. So I do recommend this game. If anyone asks me, I would say yeah, the immersion, the story, everything about it. Yeah, definitely go for it. It's been I hope everyone's enjoyed watching this experience of the Ghost of Tsushima with me. Do let me know what you think of the game yourself in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what it is, or if there's any questions on it, I'm happy to go and answer. But yeah, I do recommend this game. You will get pulled into. You will enjoy the game. And then there's that extra one thing I will say about multiplayer is, to be fair, it's different. So it's a completely different gaming experience. So there's another 20 hours in there at least. So yeah, for sure. Do check it out. I have enjoyed this game myself. It's a personal one on this channel. But yeah, it's a game where just down to the settings of the scenes. When the sun sets, you'll know. When sometimes you'll see the view or something, and boom, it's just there. So thank you very much for being part of this journey, and we'll see you next time for our next Let's Play adventure, whatever that game may be. Peace out.